Welcome to my podcast. This is Faking It, and I am here in San Francisco at Sun's apartment. Sun, thank you for hosting me in your apartment.
Of course.
And Irene, thanks. It's great to meet you, and this weekend has been so much fun.
Yeah.
So I came to San Francisco, and I slept on your couch, Sun, and this sleep was probably like one of the best I've had all week.
Oh my god. What's wrong with the Stanford dorm?
It's fine, but I don't know. I was very surprised I was able to just sleep so well on your couch. So I'm just like very happy about that.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
That's good. So what are we talking about today?
All right. Well, I think this casually came up in our conversation just this morning. So we were going on a hike, right? And by Balboa Park, a beautiful area for anybody who's visiting San Francisco. And we just casually, as one does, we start talking about sex. That's just, at least for me, that's my favorite topic to talk about. One of my favorites.
Me too.
Yeah. And I think because we all are very open about talking about it, it just started to flow and we got into the conversations of orgasms. And I think actually one of the reasons it came up was because in your bedroom, you had the book Come As You Are.
Yes. So, my housemate, also Sunwoo's partner, actually bought it for me because we had a conversation about orgasms as roommates. And I mentioned that I never had one. So she was like, here's this book to teach you about the history and like the science of sex and also how to have an orgasm. And I was like, thank you. You're the best.
That's a great roommate. Like,
right?
That's fucking amazing.
Women supporting women.
Yeah, literally.
She's actually like so for me. She's like, here's this book. She mentioned me. She's like, oh, you should read it. I was like, oh yeah, maybe. And the next day she's like, here.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God, you bought it for me.
Yeah,
That's
she
so
worked for
cool.
Shipwreck.
Oh, Sun worked for Shipwreck?
Yeah,
Cool.
so Shipwreck is like the student-run sexual health, reproductive resources at Stanford. Yeah, and they do some really cool stuff. Like they subsidize like sex toys and like condoms and lubricant, and like each Stanford student like gets like I don't know like some amount of money.
Thinks underwear, you know, like the underwear brand that's like
they gave you
the period.
Thinks?
Like you have to, it's subsidized, so it's just like cheaper.
Yeah, it's much cheaper.
Really?
No, I bought my Stanford roommate like a butt plug from Shipwreck, and it was like a nice butt plug. It didn't vibrate, but it was much cheaper.
Dang,
it's pretty cool.
They also like,
Stanford's
explain
popping.
things to you. Like the students like actually like they do their training and they explain like how to use these things and like how to like safe sex.
Stanford's very
cool.
sex positive. Like they have a vending machine where you can buy Plan B.
Damn,
Actually,
you guys have one of those? You see, I should get one.
Yeah. I mean, like it's good to have in your back pocket just in case the condom breaks.
Right.
That's true. UCI only gives out condoms, but condoms are already good already.
Yeah.
I used to stockpile them, and then I just for fun. Like I wasn't even having sex. I was just like every time I go to student health center, just like handfuls of condoms. I still have them. I have an Area 51 one.
Well, I got a yeast infection because those condoms sometimes are lubricated with like random lube. And then that just like doesn't do well for me. I need like my specific aloe based, aloe like water based lubricant that I buy. It's like the same brand that I know just works for me.
Oh, so, yeah, that's fair too. I'm also sensitive to certain lubricants as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think even within sex talk, like orgasms are still like very misunderstood, especially among women. I don't think it's talked about enough.
Yeah, I definitely don't like know what it is to like have an orgasm.
Yeah, let's talk about orgasm. So what are Irene or Sun, whoever wants to talk first, what are your experiences with orgasms? Like what's the story?
Do you want to start? Because I never had one.
Well, maybe we start with you.
Like let's
I just like never had one. Like I feel like I've never orgasmed before. Like I've definitely came. Like I definitely have like, but it's like different than having an orgasm.
Want to explain?
Like I heard that like an orgasm is like it's like explosive. Like
you know when you have it.
You know when you have it. But like every time I come, it's just kind of like liquid.
It just doesn't.
It's not like. You know, it's just like.
But there can be different types of orgasms too.
Yeah, I want to like just explain legitimately like exactly what's happening and like how you feel and like what you usually get to. Like, can you elaborate?
Okay, so like I've never actually came during sex before. I think maybe once, but it was like I was also just confused because I think I was a little bit inexperienced.
Okay,
but usually when I come, it's like by myself, and it's like when I'm using a vibrator.
Okay,
but it just feels like. It kind of feels like I need a pee. Like, it gets to that point, and then it releases. And then that's like when I'm like, oh, okay, I think I came. But it doesn't feel like, oh my God, that was so good. I want to do it again.
Do you feel like there's something like building up inside of you? Or no?
A little bit, but it feels like I need to pee. Like that's what it feels like.
And then when you get to the point where you need to pee, do you continue?
Yeah. And then it like dissipates. And
then there's no like, does it feel like there's a release or the buildup just dissipates?
Like there's like a release, I think. A release in that sense, but it's not like, you know what I mean? Like,
interesting.
Like, it's just more of like, okay.
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Usually when I have a good orgasm, or like any orgasm, I feel like it's really intense and like it takes some time to recover. I usually just fall asleep.
Yeah.
What else?
So when you orgasm, let's hear, like, what's the story there?
So I don't think I've had like regular orgasms until like I met Sun, my current partner. I think it's amazing to be able to have regular orgasms, and only now I'm like, I think I've reached a point where I know about my body enough to like know like how that works. Previously I think I would kind of almost give up on like trying to have orgasms with partners. Cause I just thought like, oh, like it's going to be really difficult. So I just don't want to like.
Why was it difficult then and why is it not difficult now?
I think it's honestly a lot of it is like comfort level, right? Okay. With the partner. So I think I don't know. I still don't think that I would be able to like orgasm with like, someone who I don't know well or someone who I just don't trust enough.
Right.
Because even a little bit of like being self-conscious or those like distractive thoughts can like make or break.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. That's something you're going to read a lot in your book. Is like this idea of like drivers and then like brakes, like driving and brakes. And that if let's say you're like in your head about you're not comfortable, you're feeling weird about your body, like you're stressing about trying to have an orgasm, any of these things, or you're trying to please your partner, any of these like ideas in the head are going to put a brake on your like sexual organs, on your brain, and that it's going to literally prevent you from just really experiencing the pleasure and being in the moment. So I guess it seems like you had a lot of those breaks.
Right.
In the past.
Yeah. And I think that, well, I don't know if this is sex therapist recommended or anything at all, but I have found that weed is like really helpful for enhanced, like it's just easier for me to orgasm, I think.
Do you find that weed is helpful because of like the drug, the way it makes you feel in your body, or is there another reason too? Like maybe
being relaxed?
Yeah.
I have no clue. I'm not speaking on the science here, but
of course, yeah.
I think statistically, people who tend to smoke have better sex lives. This makes me horny.
Do not. We're not telling anybody to smoke.
Yeah.
But
it does make you very like sensitive to like not even anything like sexual necessarily, but like touch, right? And I don't know. It just like also just relaxes you so that you don't feel so self-conscious, perhaps.
Yeah, like I definitely have a lot of friends. My friends who do have orgasms, they said like high sex is like the best sex they've ever had, and I'm like, okay, one day.
Right.
Yeah.
So then with Sun, the only thing that was really different was just the fact that you were more comfortable. Would you say?
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's the other thing is like. If like everyone's body is different and different tactics work better with this person and that person, but what's really important is to obviously understand like really what really like works for you and be able to communicate. And I think so many women our standards are really low anyway, so you're like I don't want to like even like if you make my partner feel like they have to make me come or like they have to do this thing, so you're kind of afraid to talk about like, this was good, but actually like, I did not come, or like this could have been better. Like even having that conversation is like difficult sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And so I think when you kind of accept that, no, you didn't come with this partner, but here's how it can be better. Well, let's try this. Like accepting that that's okay, but there might be other ways to like, make it actually happen. I think that's great. I think faking orgasms can be pretty dangerous in a sense, because like if you do lie to a partner, like, oh, I did orgasm, then like throughout that entire relationship, when are you gonna admit that like you've actually been like faking it?
Yeah.
Right? So when are you actually going to push your partner to try something different, or like try something together, right?
I feel like Irene's making all these faces. Irene, let's hear it.
Well, I mean, like, in the past, I only lie because it's like, I don't really want them to feel like they have to. Mm-hmm. And also, it's
what
like,
do you mean, have to what?
Have to make me come. Because, like, it's just like, it's like, to me, there's like, I don't know why, I just get turned off when they like start trying super hard to make me come. And I'm like, I don't want this. Like, I just don't want it. Like, they just like, well, because, since I'm like notice I am straight, so I'm very straight. Like, I only date men so far, and I've only slept with men so far. And they just, I don't know. And some men, like, I can tell that they'll just get very upset if I told them I didn't come.
Ego.
Yeah, their ego will get hurt. And so I'm like, okay, I just came. But then there's also those, like, the type of men who, like, try super hard, and to the point where it's just, like, I'm not feeling anymore. Like, they'll like, try, like, finger me, like, super quick or something, or, like, touch my clit. Like, it's not really my clit, or, like...
oh, my God. When they're, like, rubbing in a circle, but it's, like, the wrong spot. Yeah.
And then also, like, there are certain spots on my clit that are way too sensitive that I don't like to be touched.
Right.
Totally.
And then, for the longest time, since I hadn't really masturbated in that way, like, I didn't know what those areas were. And so I couldn't even tell them, like, oh, don't touch that area, because I don't even know which area that is.
Right.
And so I think, like, before I started, like, masturbating, I, like, had no idea, like, what areas I want to be touched and what I don't. And it's like, it's so hard to communicate that. And also it's like everybody around me, like, when I first started having sex, like, everyone around me wasn't. Like, I was definitely the earliest one in my friend group too.
How old were you when you started?
I think I just turned 17.
Okay.
And I think, like, the area that I'm from, like, we're not like politically conservative, but when it comes to stuff like this, it's not so open. Like, there's like a
a little bit of taboo,
like a little bit of slut shaming, like, to say that you're sexually active.
Right.
And so, like, it was just like I had to figure it all on my own, and I just didn't know how to communicate it for the longest time. But I think now I'm, like, at a place where I can say, like, which areas feel good and what areas don't. Right. It's just, like, I think a lot of it is also psychological, because there's, like, pressure too.
Right.
And, like, I don't know. It really just like, turns me off when, like, they try super hard, and I'm just like, I'm dry.
Right.
Like, I just want this to end.
Like, two things you said that are really interesting is, one, we need to masturbate. We need to touch ourselves as women. Like, it's literally a disservice to our partners too. Like, if let's say we can't do it for ourselves because you can't wrap your head around, like, touching yourself for yourself, do it because you want your partner to know how to please you.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise how will they know if you don't know yourself what feels good?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the other thing is, like, what you said, I think this is a very common experience for women, is that when guys are trying, they're doing a really bad job.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so bad.
Like, the whole thing of just, like, finger blasting.
Yeah,
the whole term. It's just like,
it hurts.
Oh my God.
It's just not good.
Wait, can we talk about how porn and media is, like, sometimes, like, so distorted in the way they portray orgasm or sex?
Yeah.
Like, and then, like, in TV shows, it's like, hookup scene, and then it's like 2 seconds later, the woman is like,
I know.
It's like, no, that makes no sense.
It takes way longer than that.
I just want to, like, tell any man or woman who's listening to this really quickly, do not finger blast your partner, because I'll tell you exactly why. There's a reason why. The reason you should not be finger blasting is because a finger blast is like a straight finger into the vagina, right?
Yeah.
If you're going straight in, we don't want your finger, we want your fucking dick to go inside of us, because it feels better. If it's going straight anyways, use your penis. The reason we like getting fingered is because a finger can curl. Yeah. And if you think about the come hither motion, it's like calling somebody forward. Yeah, like that's why we like getting fingered, because then you can move your fingers in a come hither motion. You don't have to go deep. You can go not even your full finger in, 3/4 of your finger in. It hits the spot on the clitoris that wraps around the vagina. That feels really good for women. slowly massage that area with your fingers using come hither. That's what we want with your fingers.
Yes.
No finger blasting. Do you agree? Do you agree?
Absolutely. I agree. I think some easy things to add on. Lube.
Yes.
It's always helpful.
Lube.
Like,
yes,
women naturally produce, like, lube, like their natural lubricant, but I honestly think like extra lube can't hurt.
Right.
It really can. It helps a lot. Especially if you're bigger.
I also just think about friction. Even if we're super wet, if you're hustling coming in and out of you, it's pulling the liquid out. And so just like literally physics, thinking about physics, even if you're so wet, the liquid is constantly getting pulled out of your vagina.
Right.
So lubricant just helps keep liquid in there, keep it smooth, even if somebody's super wet. So it has nothing to do with getting turned on. Yeah. Some women don't even get wet when they're super turned on.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with that. So it shouldn't be something that's like considered weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely lube is an essential.
And if you're gonna use fingers, like, you gotta, like, wash your hands.
Yes.
You gotta cut your nails.
Cut your nails.
Yes.
Very
cut
important.
your nails.
Or else it hurts.
Yeah.
And,
cut your nails.
moisturize your hands, like, or with lube, or with, make sure you take good care of your hands, because, like, if your hands are, like, really dry, and, like, it's just gonna cause friction and pain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, I feel like this is good, not just for guys to hear, but for girls to hear. So, like, they can tell their partner, like you were saying, you didn't know what to say to tell your partner to do.
Yeah.
Like,
literally did not.
even if, like, you, let's say, masturbated, it's still hard to tell your partner how to finger you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, hopefully, with this, like, context, you can be like, do the come hither motion.
Yeah.
My partner and I have a nail clipper right at our bedside and a lubricant. I feel like, if you're really into fingering, like, a nail clipper is almost as essential as a condom, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's so true.
Like, put it by your bedside because, the time might come and then you're gonna be too lazy to, like, go look for it. So why not just keep it prepared, right?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Totally.
True.
Bedside. Yeah. Top drawer.
I definitely need a drawer for, like, my condoms and stuff.
Yeah. Let's go back to the communication side of things. So I want to, like, so you still feel like you haven't orgasmed.
No.
Right? So, I don't know, son, what, do you have any advice or anything that we could help Irene with? And the listeners too, all those who haven't orgasmed either?
So, I think we should stop faking it.
Okay.
And kind of be blunt about the fact that, like, yeah, it didn't come. It felt good. This is great. And that's not the ultimate goal of sex sometimes, but you did not come. And I think we should be honest about that. And then I think the second thing is, like, just find out small things that maybe is not exactly a key to orgasm, but still, for sure makes you feel good. And then either show your partner how to do it, perhaps like even guiding them. And I think that's kind of hot, right? Like kind of like putting their hand and like, guiding them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I agree.
It's definitely like a journey. It's a journey that I have yet to face. Yet to face.
Totally.
I'm curious about like the build up, because for me, I feel like that's a really essential
the build up is the best
orgasm, right? Like you kind of need that build up. Like the orgasm won't just like come to you out of nowhere, or I don't know. From my experience, it rarely happens. There's always some kind of build up.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. Like, do you guys? Because I personally like foreplay better than like actual sex. Like, is that a thing?
A lot of girls do feel that way, and I think the reason why is because there's more clitoral action in foreplay, like grinding. When a guy's like grinding against you, it's going against your clit, and for us, it's a more sensitive part of our body.
Yeah, I think as
opposed to like vaginal stimulation, which isn't, unless a guy's really skilled and he knows how to use his penis. Yeah. It's very hard. I think only less than 10% of women can actually like come from vaginal. Yeah. So I think that's maybe why you like foreplay more, because it's like touching the parts of your body that actually give you more pleasure.
Yeah,
maybe. I also just like making out like his best.
Right.
But I think that is another thing that is really important for men to hear is that like statistically, it's very unlikely that a woman will come just from vaginal penetration, and you just gotta accept that maybe it's not even a problem with your skill or talent. It's just biologically, statistically, just from penetration. Don't expect your partner to just come from that. Right. So you should have no problem, complementing the session with sex toys, right?
Sex toys are your friends, not your enemies.
Exactly.
Have you used a sex toy in bed with a partner before?
I have, but like there have been like specific comments during like them being like, oh, feels bad. Like I couldn't make you come, so you had to use a toy. And I'm like, that's not what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like many, like, cause I have a couple like friends with benefits, and they would like make comments like that. And then I'd just be like, that is like literally not what I'm meaning to say. It's just like, I physically don't think I can come with penetration. And that's just it. But yeah, they definitely, they definitely do. Sometimes I feel like it does hurt their egos. Yeah. Like, especially straight men, because I don't know how to like specifically communicate to them that it's just, I just can't come that way. Like, cause I literally have told them I just can't come like with penetration. That's why I feel like we should use this. Yeah. But then they always make those comments like, oh, it feels bad. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I just can't. Like, I just don't think I can. Yeah.
No, like, just say it's biological. Like, this is how our bodies are made and you should be educated. Yeah. And, like, that's that.
Yeah. I'm not saying, like, your penis sucks. Like, your penis is great. That's why I'm fucking you. But, right. Right? That's why I keep fucking you. Like, that's literally why. Yeah. But, yeah.
I think, like, for me, so the first time I had an orgasm was a year ago. And I struggled immensely trying to have an orgasm because it was kind of like an identity crisis for me because I view myself as a feminist. I care about like women's rights, you know, and yet I couldn't get to this point of like sexual satisfaction that my peers had. And I was annoyed about that because I'm like, I'm fine with using vibrators. Like I like kissing girls and yet I can't orgasm, you know, like it bothered me to an extent. Yeah. And so for me, it was like a whole thing. I like started seeing a sex therapist. And then eventually the way I think I got there is one, I decided to stop caring about an orgasm. I was like, this idea of having to have an orgasm is weighing me down. You know, it's disempowering me. It's making me feel like a fake feminist. Right. Like all these different things that it's stressing me out. Let me just not care about it anymore. Let me just like pretend that I don't care about orgasms and only try to think about actual physical pleasure in the bedroom. And like maybe that's just foreplay. Maybe that's just like an hour of grinding and like this feels so good. So I'm gonna just do this for like a fucking hour because I want to do it for an hour, you know? And then it was like in those moments of where I was just like really just loose with my body that I actually came. And also the orgasm to me wasn't this explosive moment. And so I think like also this idea that like maybe we're all different. Our bodies are all different and how we experience orgasms are all different too. Right. Maybe for you, it's like a really slow, long buildup and then it's like this explosive like moment that you have. For me, it's like, I guess it's like a slower buildup too. And then it just gets like a little intense for a second and then it like slowly like subsides, you know? And it's like, I feel it for like 30 seconds after. Like I'm just like this slow substitution of like this feeling. And then I feel really relaxed and like that's my orgasm. And I realized that once I stopped caring about orgasms, I realized that actually I think maybe I had this a couple times, but I was so in my head about it that I didn't actually enjoy it because I was stressing out about having an orgasm. And I was like, this isn't the explosive thing that I was told I was supposed to be having.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That does make sense because like my friends who have orgasms, like with like penetrative sex, like they're saying like, oh, like their legs are shaking, like their eyes are rolling back. And I'm like, that has never happened to me, like ever. And so maybe it is just a little different with me. I don't know. I just have to see. I have to experiment.
There's also different kinds of orgasms. There's like vaginal, anal, clitoral.
Even like nipple orgasms.
Nipples. I mean, you can even have an orgasm like just by breathing, you know, very intensely. And then like it's like a full body, like a stomach orgasm.
I feel like I've definitely had orgasm just by like without any like actual physical touch.
Wow.
Rarely, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, I have a friend who whenever she does shrooms, she just gets like mini orgasms randomly. She's like, she comes out, she's like, I just orgasmed. And I was like, what? What? She's like, yeah, I peed and then orgasmed. And I was like, cool. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, I've heard crazy stories of like people, orgasming while they're like working out, like doing this like some kind of workout.
Getting laser hair removal. I had a friend who got fucking laser hair removal on her vagina and she orgasmed.
Wait, that's amazing actually.
Or like what do we call that? Like like a jet stream, like in a
pool,
the
pool, or like
a shower head,
yeah.
But all these things, like all of our bodies are different, and if we can't orgasm from doing shrooms or like getting laser hair removal, like that doesn't mean that we're abnormal. We true. All like for me, I need a vibrator to come. I've never had an orgasm without a vibrator.
Me too.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's just how my body is.
Yeah.
And the moment I start to own that it takes me a while to come and like I decide to not care that I need a vibrator and like be okay with just experiencing pleasure, that's when I started to really experience it, you know? And so I think it's like, it's so much in our heads that we like feel like this is what it looks like. This is what an ideal body type is. This is what an ideal orgasm is. You know, like we have to like get rid of that. It's like orgasms are nuanced. We're all diverse in our own ways. The way that our vagina is set up is all different.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. It's
you
true.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm curious about the length and also like how repeated, like how you can have multiple orgasms and something like that, right?
Yeah.
I didn't believe in that. Like, I mean, I thought, okay, I don't know, that sounds like kind of crazy. But then with my current partner, it's definitely happened before. Like, like 15-minute long, like constant, like orgasms.
Really?
Things like that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's real. It
That's
can happen.
real?
Yeah.
I think it's like, what is it? Like an edging?
Edging.
Yeah. So does anybody want to explain what edging is for those who don't know?
Oh, it's kind of like you're like stimulating yourself like to the point where you're almost gonna come, but then you kind of like stop for a bit.
Yeah.
And then you do it again. And then you can elongate, like I've heard that you can elongate your orgasm by doing that. Like a lot of people do that to just like create a longer orgasm, but I've never edged before. But that's what I've heard.
Kind of on the cusp of coming.
Right.
Yeah, it's like almost
That's
there.
my favorite thing to do when I'm by myself, especially because then it's like you're in so much control if you're just using a vibrator. So you, like for me, I know when I'm like super close and I just like do that until like I just orgasm because of this.
Personally, I have a really hard time like having multiple orgasms in one session, but I've seen it happen before, you know, with my partners. And I think that's, again, it's like just personal, you know, like I feel like sometimes I feel almost like a guy, like I'm like dead.
Oh yeah. I'm not like that. After orgasm, sometimes I'm dead, sometimes like, okay, let's go again, you know?
Me? Since I never come during sex, but I've like definitely had multiple rounds. Yeah.
So, okay, so just like a little wrapping up from this conversation, what for you would you say you've learned as somebody who has an orgasm from like talking about this?
That I need to stop thinking that I need to. Okay. And then just enjoy sex. Yeah.
And anything about communication?
Oh, yeah. Stop faking it. Stop saying that I had it. And just like to be able to communicate like what does feel good. And just to keep doing what feels good. And then see what happens. Yeah. Go with the flow.
What about you, Son? Anything?
I think that the emotional kind of the aspect, how important it is, and how you don't like. I feel like you don't perfect it in like one day, you know. I think I also like had like a lot of difficulty like trying to orgasm, but I think the way in which it actually started was like more like emotional, like just doing what like actually makes you feel good and feeling almost emotionally, oh, this is how you get close, right? It wasn't just about the tactics and the physical necessarily for me, I think. The way in which I realized that, I can also orgasm. So, I think for women out there who still worry about, what's wrong with them, what's wrong with their partner, I think it's different for everyone, but perhaps it's not just a kind of fixation on the tactic that is going to make or break, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's true.
Yeah, I think like from what I learned from talking to you guys is that we all have these like common shared struggles for the most part. We all have our own journey when it comes to orgasming, when it comes to sex, and it's all normal. Like all of our experiences, thousands upon millions of people have. And so we're not alone, and there are things to do, and it isn't about Googling how to orgasm and like following this like, okay, you do this circular motion to the left and then 3 minutes later you do it to the right. You know, it's about like reading this book, Come As You Are, because that book really tells you that you're normal. And then it's about getting out of your head a little bit. And like you said, it's about like more, it's about the emotions and like the closeness that you get with somebody rather than like exactly what's happening. But it's also about listening to your body and seeing what feels good and like being okay to tell your partner like to go left or right. And I think those are some takeaways that I hope people learn from our experiences. So yeah, thank you so much for coming to my podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Do you want to share like your socials or like anything? Do you want people to find you guys or no? No.
Well, my Instagram is Eileen Spilene Chen. So I'm okay with my Instagram being
out. All right.
My Twitter is _Sunwoo Lee. Cool. But I never talk about. I don't talk about personal life, so this podcast is the most intimate personal conversation I think I've had.
Yeah, actually, me too.
But I think it's really important. Like, even having conversations about female orgasms, like, is radical. It's still so radical in many cultures, right?
Yeah. Like, I think my parents will have a heart attack if they hear me talking about this stuff. I don't think they know if I'm sexually active. Well, sorry. I am.
Sorry, Mom.
The only thing I've done is hold hands. For the legal record.
Got it. Legally, thank you. Legally. I cannot promise that. But great. All right, well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to share this podcast with your friends. My faking it. Bam. Follow me at This Is Faking It on Instagram, on TikTok, at Miriam Haart on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube if you want to watch the video. And thank you so much. Kisses, bitches.